There's just one more thing you don't know about the American Revolution. 25,000 Americans died in this bloody conflict for the dream of a land free of British rule. But the irony was, most soldiers died in captivity. We often picture colonial troops fighting bravely in battle, selflessly giving their lives for a revolution. But the truth behind most soldiers' deaths is far more tragic. Where are we right now?
Henry, we're at the Prison Ship Martyrs Monument, Fort Greene Park in Brooklyn, New York.
What's the importance of this monument?
You know, this is really the first prisoner of war monument in the country. This was long before the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. And it's really an untold story, but a very important story in American history.
The Revolutionary War. I bet a lot of people are not aware of these statistics. Killed in action, prisoners of war.
If you think about from New Hampshire to Georgia and all 13 colonies, during the entire 8 years of the war, there were between 8,000 to 8,500 killed in combat. On the prison ships, the martyrs right here in Wallabout Bay, right here in Brooklyn, 11,500 gave up their life for our country.
So you're saying that prisoners of war deaths outnumber killed in action in the Revolutionary War?
The people on the prison ships outnumber by far the people killed in action in combat.
What are these prison ships?
Well, you have to understand that New York Harbor was under British occupation from 1776 till they left in 1783. And during that course, they were taking prisoners, so they had to have a place to put them. They took old abandoned hulks from the ships that they had here, dismantled them.
So all of a sudden you have these floating prisons, basically.
Yes, and I was pretty sure if you were confined to these terrible conditions, you were not going to survive.
The British are in a unique position in that they're fighting away from home, clothing and feeding thousands of men when you're living on rations sent over from England and whatever you can scavenge in America. You're prioritizing your food and resources for your troops first. POWs, they're getting the backhand.
Absolutely. They were barely given any kind of food at all, or health care or clothing or anything like that. They were confined, and the most infamous ship was the Jersey. They were confined about 1,000 below decks. Picture that as a 5-foot height with cutouts for air that had bars on to allow light and air in. And that's where they were confined to for this time during the American Revolution.
So people are dying.
Yes.
What's happening to the bodies?
Every morning, the British or the sentries would yell down, "Rebels, bring up your dead." And they would bring up between 10 and 15 bodies every day. The prisoners volunteered for the duty to row them ashore from Wallabout Bay to the sandy shores. They would bury them in shallow graves, and just to get off and get a breath of fresh air, prisoners would volunteer for that duty.
Did the British offer these POWs any way to get out of incarceration?
Yes, daily the British would offer that anybody that came over to the British side and would serve in the British Navy would be willing to be forgiven, and there's no recorded instance of anyone accepting that.
So no takers.
Correct. These people gave their lives for the American Revolution and therefore were martyrs for that cause.
As far as the birth of our nation, this information is as important to me as any other fact from the Revolutionary War. How come this is so obscure?
You know, it doesn't have the drama of Yorktown or the crossing of the Delaware, you know, in icy conditions on Christmas Eve.
So as far as the war for independence, you and I are presently standing pretty much at ground zero.
That's correct.
The monument is very moving, but it really bugs me that I didn't know this by 10th grade. It is a huge part of American history that everybody should know.
Absolutely.
The things you don't know about the American Revolution make you rethink the battle for our independence like never before. The story is more than 2 centuries old, and through the annals of time, history became myth. Long gone